Good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good.
Today we are going to learn the first poem of the poetry section for compulsory
Mm,
English BA second year. So you have actually three units. Okay. Yesterday we four units. In the first unit, you have prose section, wherein you are supposed to learn five lessons. Then poetry section, you have five poems. And in grammar part, there are six topics which are prescribed for your syllabus. And unit 4, writing skills, there is punctuation and capital letters. I think we discussed this elaborately in the previous lecture. So in this
yes, sir.
lecture, I am going to comment on the first poem written by John Clare. So here in the poetry, what is important is the reading of the ideas behind the words, beyond the words.
Okay.
Whenever we talk about poetry, we think of the definition of William Wordsworth. What he says, poetry is the breath and final spirit of all knowledge. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, taking its origin from emotions recollected in tranquility. This is the definition of William Wordsworth, the romantic poet. What he says, poetry is the breath and final spirit of all knowledge. So whenever we talk about knowledge, he says that this is the finer spirit. It's the breath. It's like oxygen. Poetry is the breath and finer spirit of all knowledge. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, taking its origin from emotions recollected in tranquility. So it's a powerful feelings, or this is the outburst of feelings. So poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings taking its origin from emotions recollected in tranquility. So these emotions are recollected in tranquility, in peace. Whenever our mind is in peace and calm, then only these powerful feelings are generated. So here, William Wordsworth talked about the spontaneity of the poetical flow or the emotions. So whenever we talk about poetry, I remind one of the beautiful quotations of Boswell and Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson asked Boswell one question, Sir, what is poetry? Very simple question. He says, what is poetry? Then Dr. Johnson said, we all know what light means, but we do not know what it is. We all know what light means, but we do not know what it is. In the same fashion, we all know what poetry means, but we do not know what it is. It means that it's very difficult to interpret things. It's very difficult to understand the things which are beyond human comprehensibility, beyond human intelligence. Can we understand those things which are beyond human comprehensibility and understanding? No. And then the poet, through his imagination, tries to recollect those ideas in words and composes a poem. So it's very difficult to interpret a poem. See, in our life, what exactly we do, or what a researcher does, what a critic does, is that simply he studies the poem, interprets the poem, but it's quite difficult to explain what something is. It's easy to interpret what something means, but it's difficult to interpret what something is. Right. So here in poetry, we learn many symbols, many images, figures of speech used by the poet. But what exactly the poet said at that particular moment of time is known to the poet at that time. And it is known to God only. Only two people can understand the meaning of poem. About you and me, just we simply read the lines, understand what he said at that particular time, and we interpret things. But here, this poem is quite interesting. Why it is so interesting? Because it's about love. Love is a feeling that everyone knows. So here, love is interpreted in many ways. There is a physical love, spiritual love. We can divide love into parts. That is the physical love and spiritual love. When the body is attracted to another body, that is called physical love. And when the spirit is attracted to another spirit, that can be termed as a spiritual love.
Spiritual.
So, which is a divine love? Which is a great love? Which is eternal love? That is the spiritual love, is the eternal love, which is uh, means a man loves a girl, right? Means a lover loves his paramour or the beloved after her death also, right? So this feeling means the spiritual love. So here in physical love, there is a passion, then emotions, then all these things that we can come across. So that's why the sublime love or the sublimity of love can be ascertained in terms of the spiritual love. So here, the first love by John Clare. So this is a poem. This poem is all about, uh, first of all, I would like to talk about the structure of the poem. The poem has three stanzas. It's a, it has a three stanza poem, and it is separated into sets of 8 lines or octaves. Octaves means 8 lines. It is separated into 8 lines. So all these octaves means the 8 lines follow a consistent and structured rhyme scheme. There is a rhyming scheme of these stanzas. And there is a perfect pattern which varies its end sounds from stanza to stanza. That is the pattern of the poetry is AB, AB, CD, CD. So we can call AB, AB, CD, CD. So it depends on the rhyming structure of the poem. So Clear has chosen to imbue this piece with a couple of different metrical forms, metrical patterns. So most of the lines are written in either iambic tetrameter or iambic trimeter. These are poetic forms in which the poetry has been written. So this means that they almost all contain either 4 sets of 2 beats per line or 3 sets of 2. The first of these lines is unstressed and the second is stressed. So it is about the unstressed and stressed symbols used by the poet in poetry. So actually, Clare uses this pattern to his own advantage, especially in the sixth line of second stanza. This is one of the shorter phrases he used, written in iambic trimeter with the addition of the dash and missing syllables. He uses the dash and missing syllables in poetry. The poem emphasizes the words that are about to emerge from his eyes. So in this poem, he simply talks about his own experience, the personal experience about love. Additionally, a reader should take care of the use of indentation. Clare has made sure that the indentation varies but remains connected to the rhyming scheme. The B lines are indented while A lines are not, and so on. So it's all about the structure of the poetry, how it is composed. Just to remember the thing that is, it is in AB, AB, CD, CD rhyming pattern. So let's go through this poem and what the poem says to us, to the readers. Actually, the poem begins with the speaker. There is a speaker. We read the poem means there is a speaker with whom the poem begins. And what he states that he's experiencing an emotion so strong, it is like nothing he's felt before. If the question is asked, talk about love that you experienced, because the experience of love is always internal. So here what we do is that we externalize the internals and internalize the externals. Now, this internalization and externalization of the emotions deeply inherent in our body, emotions, feelings, which are expressed through poetry. What exactly the poet says here? He talks about his own experience. It means
mm,
he had experienced something about love at first sight. So, what are the feelings at that time? He's seeing a woman whose face is like a sweet flower. What he says, he saw a woman, and the face of the woman is like a sweet flower. So here is a simile, here is a comparison. That the face is compared with the moon sometimes. The face is compared with the many beautiful things in the nature. So here the poet has compared the face with the sweet flower. The face is compared with a sweet flower. Suppose you go to the market and there is a Robert Burns poem. He says about love. Love is like a red, red rose, right? Love is like a red, red rose. Suppose we go to the market. Can we use figurative language there? Like we say, how is tomato? Tomato is red, red tomatoes. How is red, red tomatoes? What kilo you give me? So we never use the figurative language in the market. We simply say, let me know the price of these tomatoes, we say. But here in poetry, everything is compared. So the face is like the face of the beloved is compared like a sweet flower. Your face is like a sweet flower. He feels his heart is stolen from him. So here, in the feelings of love, we can see that one thing that the man gets lost. He, he loses all his sensations and everything. So that's why in Midsummer Night's Dream, William Shakespeare has stated the thing that there are three mad people in this world.
uh,
The first mad person is poet, right? He's mad because he has no any connection with this physical world. He's in his own imagination. He thinks of the universe, the nature, the God, and everything. So that's why
yeah,
here the first thing is that the poet is mad. And the second mad person is the mad person is mad. He's called as lunatic. The lunatic person is also a mad. And the third person who is also mad, that is a lover. A lover is also a mad person. Why? Because he never thinks of the physical world. He is in his own world of imagination, fancy, love, emotions, and all these things. So here, the heart of the poet has been stolen. He says, "My heart has been stolen." And his body freezes over and he is unable to move. What he says that all my body is freezing now, freezing with cold, and I am not able to move because I am in love. So he says, the poet says that I am in love. That's why my body gets freezed and I am not able to walk. I am not able to move forward. My heart has been stolen. My body is numb and my face is compared with her because her face has a dazzling beauty. She has a
so
dazzling.
dazzling means
Dazzling means that is magnetic, that is eye catching. We can say eye catching. Dazzling,
okay.
catching. That is fascinating. Her beauty fascinated me, or we can call it that her beauty entices me. So we can say like that. So in this way, we can analyze it. I got one call. That's why. So here he says that my body gets freezed over and he is unable to move. The
Move.
speaker's body is overwhelmed by what he is feeling and his vision blurs and darkens. See here, it's very difficult to explain or put something in words about his internal experiences that the poet had. So here he says that my body is overwhelmed by what he is feeling and his vision blurs and darkens. Here, the internal feelings affected his body, right? The internal feelings affected his body, and his body is overwhelmed by what he is feeling. His vision blurs and darkens. So he says, I am not able to
Yeah.
see properly because I am in love. Everything I see is darkness. So here my body is overwhelmed by the feeling I always think about her, he says. It seems as if he is going to pass out. As the poem concludes, he sends with his eyes a message to the woman his voice cannot speak. So here the poet says that I'm not able to express my love in words. So that's why who is going to send the message to you? That is my eyes. My eyes will give you a message. See, the God has created such wonderful eyes and given eyes to us that has all the shades of love. You can see anger in eyes, hatred in eyes, love in eyes, compassion in eyes, all the feelings
Yes.
in eyes. And no scientist can make such eyes in laboratory, right? Nobody can make it.
Yes.
So we study what God has given us. So here, he is very much interested to say the fact that he sends with his eyes a message to the woman his voice cannot speak. So here the poet says that whatever I am not able to say, it is said by my eyes. He tells to refuse it.
Mm.
His heart is now totally in her possession. He says that whatever I say through my eyes, it is understood by my love. My love can understand my language. My love
Mm.
can understand my feeling, my heart. She can read my feelings because she is my own creation. While talking about the analysis of the first love, here is the first stanza. What he says, I never was struck before that time with love so sudden and so sweet. These are the lines of the poet. What he says, I never was struck before that hour with love so sudden, so sweet. What he says, my love was so sudden and so sweet.
Mm.
This is the love at first night. It abruptly happens. And man has not decided that he is going to fall in love with something or some person at particular time. It happens only. And it happened so immediately in his life, and that gave him happiness. So he says that so sudden and so sweet. So here he compares it love, which happened so suddenly and so sweetly. I never was struck before that hour with love so sudden and so sweet. Her face is bloomed like a sweet flower. What he says, her face was like a sweet flower. It was blooming, it was flowering like a sweet flower, and stole my heart away complete. And I lost my heart. I lost my heart, and my beloved has stolen my heart. And her face was a sweet flower. My face turned pale, as deadly pale, my legs refused to walk away. What he says, I am in love. This is the reason why my face turned pale. Look at the color of my face. And the color of face is pale. It's a deadly pale. Why? Because I am in love. I am in love. I am in love. That's the only reason my legs refuse to walk away. I am not able to walk away. My legs refuse to walk away because I'm stunned. I stay very. And when she looked, what could I ail? My life and all seemed turned to clay. Whenever she looked at me, I lost my control. Whenever she looked at me, I'm deeply impressed by her beauty. What could I ail? My life and all seemed turned to clay. So then immediately I lost all my senses and my life, everything turns to clay. So here in the first stanza of First Love, the speaker begins by outlining what the rest of the poem is going to be about. He has fallen in love and he has uses the stanzas to explain what happened and how he had changed because of it. So here he expresses his own feelings of love when he is in love. The speaker explains that there was one particular emotions that he wants to communicate with her. So let's see the few lines regarding to this, what he says further. And when she looked what I ail, my life and I seemed turned to clay. In the first stanza of First Love, the speaker begins by outlining what the rest of the poem is going to be about. He has fallen in love and is using these stanzas to outline how that happened and how he has changed because of it. The speaker explains that there was one particular moment and hour that he was stuck. So here the poet says that he's talking about the moment of time. He's talking about a particular time in which he fell in love. He talks about an hour and he tries to reveal
mm,
what he failed in that particular hour. And the poem is all about love. With love so sudden and so sweet, he says, look at the phrases that the poet has used, so sudden, so sweet. So her love is so sudden and her love is so sweet. I didn't get the time to understand what love is. I looked at her, I fall in love at first sight, and it was so sudden and so sweet. This was the first time analyzing like this had happened to him before. He says that the first experience of love, he didn't have such experience before. The next lines describes the women he fell in love with and how she appeared to him for the first time. So here he says he describes about the woman in this poem thoroughly. What he says, her face is so lovely, her beauty is dazzling, her face is a little bit complex and lively that it seemed to bloom like a sweet flower. Her face is dazzling, and that's the reason it blooms like a sweet flower. It immediately drew him in and took his heart. He says that my paramour has stolen my heart. And every part of the love he had to give went to her immediately. What he says that when I fall in love, I lost my control. When I fell in love, I lost my control. After this moment of dedication, the speaker's face turned pale, deadly pale. He grew faint, unable to control his emotions. He got faint. The next line states that he was unable to move. He says that I am unable to move. His body was not under his control, not able to move. His body is not under his control. His body is uncontrolled. To make his situation more complex, the woman turns and looks at him. The woman is looking at the pot. All the prior control that he had over his body and uh, the life gets dissolved. He's frozen like clay that will soon be made that soon be made to the poet, made to her liking. He is frozen like the poet says that my body is frozen like a clay because I am in love. So this is all about the first stanza, wherein the poet talks about the love. So let's see what he says in the second stanza. Let's see what he says in the second stanza. Yes, sir. In the second stanza, I read the lines here.
Mm-hmm.
And then my blood rushed to my face. See, this is the feeling of the first love. What happens in the first love? All my blood rushes to my face. So here the circulation of
Lord.
blood from the body to the face. He says, then my blood rushed to my face and took my eyesight quite away. And my eyesight goes away from me. It's not with me. The trees and bushes round the place seemed midnight at noonday. So here I am looking at the trees, bushes all around me. But what? This is the daytime. But as I am in love, this is not day. This is the night for me. So he said, all these trees, bushes around the place seem the midnight at noonday. So this is the in the daytime I see darkness because I am in love.
Yes.
Okay. Within 10 minutes the video will be over. Okay. Time constraint.
Okay, sir.
10 minutes it will go.
Okay.
I will finish as
Okay.
possible. The trees and bushes round the place seemed midnight at noonday. I could not see a single thing. Words from my eyes did start. They spoke as chords do from the string, and blood burnt round my heart. What he says that this is a very beautifully constructed by the poet. What he says, I could not see a single thing. Words from my eyes did start. I am totally blind in love. He said, love is blind, right? Love is blind. And I'm not able to
Yes.
see anything all around me because love is blind. They spoke as chords too from the string and blood burnt round my heart. So around my heart there is a blood, and the blood has burnt. In the second stanza, the speaker goes into greater details regarding concerning the day, the way his body reacted to seeing this woman. It is important to keep in mind for the sake of perspective that all occurs before he speaks to her. The next thing that happened to him after the woman looked at him is all that the blood rushed to his face. What he says, my blood rushed to my face. This caused his eyesight fade away. Why my eyesight falls away? Because my blood is coming to my face from my body. And from this emotional description, it is clear that he is on the verge of fainting. So what the poet says that my blood is coming from my body to the face, right? That's why I feel reeling. I'm feeling reeling. I may faint. I may fall down because of this, he says. All the blood rushed to his face. This caused eyesight to fade. From this emotional description, it is clear that he is on the verge of fainting. See, he says that I am reeling, I am fainting, I may fall down on the ground. Why? Because I am in love. The speaker, while trying not to pass out, is able to see that the trees and bushes around the place are getting darker. He says that I cannot see the trees, I cannot see bushes all around me because I am blind in love. He says, I am in love and love is blind and that has darkened my eyes. This is another result of his narrowing vision. See how his vision gets narrowed. So most of the poets have a broader vision of love. So how he says that his vision is quite narrow. The brightness of the day fades as the dark side is pulled down over his eyes. This gets worse and worse until he could not see a thing. What he says that I am not able to view a single thing in the nature. Everything seems to be blind to me. In the last in the last lines of this stanza, the speaker makes an effort, although internally, to speak to the woman. He tries with his darkening eyes alone to make words. These efforts to his mind come out as chords do from the string. As chords do string from the dew from the string, they were presumably very hot and romantic and much better than they would have been if she had spoken aloud. All this goes on inside his head while within his body his heart is burning. What he says that within my body my heart is burning. The blood is pumping through his body furiously in the reaction to his mix of intense emotions. And in the stanza number uh, third, what he says. Our flowers, the winter choice, is love's bed always snow. She seemed to hear my silent voice, not love's appeals to know. I never saw so sweet a face as that I stood before. My heart has left its dwelling place, and I can never return no. Let's see what it is. In the last stanza of this poem, the words the speaker makes with his eyes are described. The first two lines are the questions. These are lines originated love, filled the mind and closed the way. In the last stanza of the first line, the words the speaker makes his eyes are described. He describes the first two lines are the questions. These are likely originating from his love, adult mind, and closed at the woman. He's asking repeatedly if the flowers are winter's choice. He says, whose choice is it? Flowers are winter's choice. My love's bed is always snow. He says, my love's bed is like a snow. It is like a snow. With these words, he is probing the possibility of a real love. He says that my love is original, my love is genuine, my love is spiritual, real. Perhaps he thinks that he does not always have to be cold and doomed to fail. Whether she does not, the poet says, she seemed to hear his silent voice. His clearly uncontrolled love is conveyed to her through his eyes. He says that my love is uncontrolled and I am not able to see all these things clearly. My love is totally uncontrolled. So his clearly uncontrolled love is conveyed to her through his eyes. He says that my eyes, my love. She does not hear, does not pay attention to love's appeal to know. So what here the poet says, he talks about love in depth. Okay. So here the poem is over.
Okay.
You also study very well and
Okay.
in order to understand each and everything.
Yes, sir.
And in this way you will get the
Hmm.
students and please ask all other students to join the class and tomorrow we will take the next poem
Okay.
Shakespeare, All the World is a Stage by William Shakespeare. Okay, in this way you will get some idea and
Okay, sir.
at home also you study, then rest of the things will be clear. Okay, I hope that you
Okay, sir.
understood at least some ideas about this poem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thank you very much for sparing your time. Okay, and I will give your optional English class also around 4 o'clock or before I conduct your class, I call you. Okay,
Okay, sir.
I will call you
Thank you, sir.
at your time. Then
Mhm.
we go for optional.
Mhm.
Today we will start optional English also. Okay, I didn't have food. Just
Okay, sir.
have food. And are you free for the whole day?
Yes, sir.
You are free, no problem. Okay.
No, sir. सर तुम्ही जे पीडीएफ टाकलेत ग्रुपवरती ते कंपल्सरीचे आहेत की ऑप्शनलचे आहेत?
This is compulsory.
Compulsory English. Okay, sir.
I will share the optional things to you also. Okay. I will
Okay, sir. Thank you.
recording first. Okay, then we can talk. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.